It's not as scary as it looks. My. Ankita, if I may take the liberty because you're a very good friend, I must say the beginning few slides and pictures didn't scare me as much as the last slide scared me.
Sahil, you always pull my leg, but anyways, that's very observant of you.
Okay, but a warm welcome to Just Like That. And I know it must have been a very different experience. Sharks all around you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sahil. It's always fun to be with you, and I'm very happy and excited to be chatting with you today, just like that.
Lovely. So tell me a little more about this experience. Of course, we have a lot of sharks in the corporate world as well, but we'll get to that in a bit of how do we recognize them. But these were real sharks, right? And you were in
Absolutely,
a
yes.
cage,
Yes. So,
and the cage goes down in water.
yes. Um, s-
Wow.
so a few years back, my husband and I took a trip to Cape Town, right? And overall, it was an incredible vacation. But there was this one experience that was a clear standout for me. So shark cage diving is an extreme aquatic sport, right? Where people can have really close encounters with the great white sharks. So my husband and I booked a shark cage diving excursion, and there I was on a boat in the Atlantic Ocean, filled with excited terror. Now I say excited terror because one moment I was like, yes, I'd finally get a chance to dive in with the great whites. And the very next moment, I went, oh God, I'll have to actually dive with great whites. So, because Sahil, there's so much action happening on the surface of the water with uh, great whites jumping and leaping out of the water. So, once you see their size, their powerful jaws, and their razor sharp teeth, it's enough to send icy chills down anyone's spine. So, so I remember making all kinds of excuses to my husband, saying that the water is too cold and I'm starting to feel seasick and so on. And just a few moments later, the tour guide dropped a few words of wisdom, saying that whatever you do not put your hands through the bars of the cage, right? Do not even rest them on the outside of the cage bars. And that's when I got terrified, and I said to my husband, I cannot do this. This is so risky. This is clearly dangerous. And why the hell are the bars of the cage so wide apart? So my husband was nervous too, but then he was trying to calm me down, saying that, Ankita, it's okay. It'll be okay. We are under the supervision of experts. And then he also said a few absurd things like, Ankita, humans are not a part of the shark's food chain, right? And sharks are not the great killers that they are portrayed to be in films. Anyways, um,
But did all
somehow,
of that work? Did all that logic work with you?
not at all, not at all. But I don't know how. Somehow I mustered the courage and I changed into a wetsuit, completed the drill sessions, the practice sessions, and then the experience began. So the cage was lowered into water, and a few sharks just glided by the cage, right? And then there was this moment where the tail of a shark slammed into the cage. And then there was another moment where I saw the eyes of a shark really up close. And then came the most exhilarating part where one of the sharks charged at the cage, right? It attacked the cage and held on to the bars really hard. So, all in all, it was an incredible experience because I felt most alive during the time I was underwater, right? I was in awe of every moment. So, anyways, cut to a few weeks later, I was showing this video footage of the shark cage diving experience to one of my colleagues. And on seeing the video, he said to me, "This looks so scary, Ankita. I can never do this." And that's when I said to him that, it's not as scary as it looks. So, and Sahil, this became sort of my aha moment, if I can call it that, because I instantly took a snapshot of me in a wetsuit, which you saw, ready to jump into the cage, and captioned it, "It's not as scary as it looks." And since then, I have moved to a new country in a very small town in the far eastern part of Russia. I've left my corporate job. I have started a new career in a completely different field. And whenever I'm nervous or overwhelmed or stressed, I just take a few moments to look at that photo that says, "It's not as scary as it looks." Because, Sahil, that photo reminds me of the times that I felt most alive. And it reminds me to embrace nervousness as a sign of something good. Because, most likely when you're feeling afraid, nervous, or anxious, it's because you're pushing yourself to grow. So that's what the photo means to me. Thank you for asking that.
No, that's so beautifully and so well put, Ankita, because what started off as a holiday or an experience turned to a memory, and that memory became like a bookmark of sorts that every time you had a crossroad or a decision to be taken, the tagline of saying it's not as scary as it looks gave you the faith, the conviction, and the courage to really go ahead and take that leap, which was wonderful.
Absolutely, Sahil. And this was, in fact, the first photo in what I call a brag folder. So this is a folder that has
Say it again. Say it again. What folder?
my brag folder. So
Is
this
that
is,
BRAG?
yes. So this is a folder that I have on my phone, right? And I pretty much snapshot and collect everything that sings my praises in this folder. Right? For instance, compliments from colleagues, appreciation from higher ups, and even thank you messages from my friends whom I've helped, right? And also, I think comments from my posts and articles. So I think I'd like to put it this way. My brag folder gives me a pat on the back that I need when there is no one else to give it to me. And the most interesting thing, I think, is that I was shocked and amazed when I started amassing a collection of stuff that said something nice about me, right? Because so often we forget how many successes we have got under our belt, right? So that's what the brag folder does for me.
No, that's so interesting, Ankita, because in this whole world where people are being so narcissistic, you've given such a positive spin to saying when there is no one in the world to pat you on the back, you have this brag folder that really helps you give yourself a pat on the back. And I think so that is Atmanirbhar to another level altogether.
You have put that so beautifully, Sahil. Absolutely, yes.
So, Ankita, actually, for millennials like us, where YOLO is our acronym that we all relate to, you live only once, to not as scary as it looks, I see a beautiful paths coming close and interacting with each other, where at any point in time, if we have that thought in our mind that we live only once, but we are scared to take that jump, I think your tagline is so beautifully merging in. So thank you so much for joining us on Just Like That.
Thank you so much, Sahil. It was great talking to you. And I think you get the best out of people. Thank you so much.